Welcome to the Pop Tower Podcast with your host, the man behind the myth, Peter Dawson, and the Soulful Lordy, James Bullock.
It's episode 68, and it's time to toss a coin to your witcher. I am Peter W. Dawson.
And I am James Bullock, your favorite bard.
Yep. Well, because he's the only bard. No, that's not true.
He's the only bard that matters.
Yeah.
It's like he's the only bard that can actually make a job of it.
Great. So we're going to talk about TV this week as we wrap up our best of 2019.
Mm-hmm.
And fittingly, we're going to focus primarily on a show that would probably be on some people's lists. But, yeah, like, because this dropped right at the end of 2019. And,
it was like right before Christmas.
Yeah, like the 20th, 22nd, something like that?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, it was right before Christmas. I remember that.
Yeah, I think I have the date here somewhere.
The
December
20th.
Yep. And yeah, no, we're gonna be talking about The Witcher, the Netflix TV series based on the books of the same name. More heavily the books than the games.
Yeah, I was about to say a lot more on the books than the games, and in turn, I think a lot of people were both excited about it and disappointed, because I think a lot of, like, us in general know more about the game than the book.
Yep.
And I know a lot of people who actually read the books like, oh man, this is a lot better than I expected.
Yeah, no, because it's very close to the books. The big thing is, of course, because the first two books in particular were mostly short stories.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I know Last Wish was, because I've actually read Last Wish.
Right.
I haven't actually read Sword of Destiny. Yep, short stories. So, there you go. So as a result, they are kind of telling interconnected, but not in linear fashion short stories.
Yeah.
Which can get a little confusing.
Yeah, I know. I was about to say that's one of the biggest problems I think a lot of people had with it. And to a certain extent, I did a little bit. It was just something that just kind of made me have to rewatch it again, and that's one reason I'm glad we kind of took a little bit more time to review it than like going the week after it aired, because like I said, some of the timeline jumps and shifts are definitely off-putting at first until you like sit down and watch it again and realize, okay, this is happening then and this is happening when, and you try to piece everything together.
Yeah, because like the big thing is, well, series story is pretty much linear.
Mm-hmm.
Geralt and Yennefer's stories, because they're the other main two. Their stories are not, because like, yeah, there's a character who shows up in the first episode, who I believe dies, but is alive in later episodes,
right,
during an earlier timeline.
Right.
I don't want to give too much away regarding any of that, but I'll go with that.
So I mean, you think about it, like there's a big moment in the first episode featuring Ciri's family that once you see, like, you come like midway through the story and everybody's back, and it doesn't make much sense until you start realizing what's going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's an interesting connection, and of course we get all the favorites from the games tend to show up, the ones that are relevant at this point anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Like most notably, of course, Geralt. We got Ciri. We got Yennefer. Then we got Jaskier.
Yeah.
Who's of course that's the one everyone loves to quote because he's got that really annoying song.
Yes, that everybody's doing a cover of in various genres of music.
Because it's like that. It's like the perfect kind of like old timey pop song in that respect. Because it's like it's not great, but at the same time, it's just so much fun to sing.
Right. It's
like,
corny good.
Like I cannot tell you how much I actually really dislike frickin' Shake It Off. Which is, of course, probably hilarious in of itself because it talks about haters, right? But I don't blame people for having a fun time singing that song.
Right.
I don't know if I'd go that far with this song. Like, it's not that bad.
No, not at all. Not at all.
But it's just kind of like, oh my god, shut up. Yeah. And then, Trista showed up for a couple episodes as well.
Yeah. She actually played a pretty good, big role in the finale of the season 1 that I didn't kind of expect, because she wasn't that big of a deal throughout the entire show.
or yeah, in the books in particular, she was always considered a smaller character, but because she's so big in the games, I think they expanded her role. Because I don't remember like most of the the latter half where she shows up. Because I don't think she was in any of Last Wish.
Yeah, no, not at all.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've read it. I read it back when I think Witcher 2 came out.
Mm.
That was like 8 years ago.
Yeah, that was a whole generation ago.
Yeah, it's the whole thing. But I did enjoy it, and in particular, Geralt's kind of a great because he's like, it feels like, okay, remember the last Witch Hunter?
Mm-hmm.
Where it was like, you know, Vin Diesel basically doing a movie about his D&D character, and he made him like super awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Geralt's kind of like that if he still was like grounded.
Yeah, if he still had that same melodic, almost monotone, very serious attitude that doesn't break whatsoever until like that one moment where you see this character interaction between him and Yennefer that kind of explores the fact that he does have some emotions. But like you said, he still feels grounded in the character that we've gotten to know all these years, yet still has a personality and that quote-unquote it factor about him that still makes him really fun to watch.
Yeah, like, in general, like, for all the accusations that he has no emotion, you can see in pretty much every episode that heavily focuses on him that, that's not true. Like, he just seems to have an easier time compromising his morality.
Right.
Like he's very much in control of them, but that doesn't mean he's happy about it. Like even in the first episode where we get the butchering of Bloodhaven or whatever it is, not Bloodhaven. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like this is one of the famous things that became one of his nicknames, which comes up in the games quite a bit too. So, like even game fans would love the first episode, I think. Yeah, like even that moment where he just drops that perfect F-bomb.
Yeah.
You know it's not just because he's just like, here we go again. It's like, no, he's genuinely upset about this. And it's just... Blaviken, that's the name.
Oh, yeah, there you go, yeah.
No, Bloodhaven I knew was wrong immediately, because like, that's from DC. So we get Geralt's whole... You know, we just get a taste of his, because we don't get a lot of his origin, and I hear that's something they're going to do in a later season. Plus they talked about doing an animated sort of mini-film. So I don't know if that's going to be how they do it. Yeah,
because that was one thing that I do say, like I said, for someone like ourselves that has a little bit knowledge of the lore, we understand like what he's about, what the Witcher idea is about. But for like people that are coming in fresh, I could definitely say, they didn't do a great explanation as to like why he is the person that he is.
Yeah.
And like I said, as long as we know at least we're getting a second season, so I'm fine that they kind of wait later on to explain it, especially now with his interactions, and then of course not to spoil too much, but of course with the revelation of what Ciri's about and who she is. I'm looking forward to seeing how they maybe flesh out his backstory and understanding like what makes who he is and what makes a Witcher.
Yeah, that would be good. And I know one of the dream castings for I can't think of his name now. The mentor over at Kaer Morhen or whatever it is. Is Mark Hamill. That would be awesome.
That would be. That really would.
Yes, cast Mark Hamill as another mentor character, please. Give him another shot.
We hate to pigeonhole the guy, but he does it so well.
Oh yeah, and I gotta say, like, because of course Henry Cavill as The Witcher was kind of a revelation because, well, I knew he was a good actor, and it's just I always thought the DC films, either because of editing or script, frequently let him down. But like I've watched him in some other stuff, and oh no, this is still like some of his best. Like you could tell he was really excited to play Geralt.
Yeah, I was actually pleasantly surprised. I was just thinking that, hey, they kind of picked him because it kind of fits that whole deadpan kind of attitude and just presentation. And
well, absolutely does.
Yeah, he does a great job at that, but he still has a great flair about him that just makes it feel so much more enjoyable. Like, he's not just dry the whole time in a way that just makes it boring. He's dry in a great way. He's got some dark humor that I did not expect to really click as well as it did. And like I said, kudos to him. Like I think that was some of his best work. I was pleasantly surprised.
Have you turned on the subtitles?
Yes.
The amount of times it's just like Geralt snarls or scoffs or whatever.
Yes.
Scoff is quickly becoming a meme in my house. Like, we're not taking a drink every time we see the word scoff.
Right, but like you said, if you wanted to make a game of it, it could happen.
Yeah, it's like, exactly. But, yeah, I did want to also say in particular, Anya Chilatra playing Yennefer.
Yeah, Yennefer, yeah.
Yeah, like, she did a really good job with the pre- and post-transformation Yennefer.
Oh my goodness, I had a feeling that was her when they first showed her, but then I was thinking, man, there's no way they're going to have this like dramatic transformation, the person will be able to pull it off as well as she did. Absolutely great. To me, she was the standout of the entire season. I know they kind of built that idea around that, but her journey throughout the entire season was just phenomenal.
Yeah, well, because she undergoes the biggest change. Because, like, Geralt, of course, is pretty static, but we just learn what his deal is.
Yeah, we're just kind of like dropping into the middle of him right now.
Yeah, Yennefer goes through a whole thing.
Yes.
She's got a lot of stuff going on there.
And it's obviously serious, like at the beginning of hers. So, like, we saw like this dramatic transformation with Yennefer. We're just seeing kind of like inklings of what Ciri's about to become, and like I said, Geralt, we're just right in the middle of him.
Yeah. Yeah, and Ciri, it's still the beginning, so while she definitely undergoes some change, like, it's still more gradual as she's kind of adjusting to her situation. And plus, she's still a kid.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, by the way, Freya Allen, pretty good for a child actress.
Yeah, I was very happy. Like, she did a great job. To me, especially like the latter half of the season, where we got some more just like interaction with people and the way she kind of just survives. I thought she was absolutely great. Like, I'm looking forward to another season.
Holy crap, she's already 18?
Really?
I know. I thought she was only like 14.
Wow.
Okay.
That makes sense then.
She's gonna get she's gonna get the Maisie Williams treatment.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel bad now. Well, let's just get away from that subject. But yeah, no, like we get a lot of neat folklore stuff. It's just it can be kind of confusing with everyone who shows up. Like what's his nuts? Vilgefortz? Is that who it is?
Oh yeah.
The sorcerer from the first episode, or whatever he is.
Yeah.
Yeah. He in particular can be a very frustrating character, I think. Oh no, Strigobor. That's who I'm thinking of.
You think Strigobor? Okay, no, I think Vilgefortz. Yeah.
No, don't get me wrong. Vilgefortz is not. Now that I remember who he is.
Yeah.
Sorry. See, this is kind of the one problem. Is like there's a lot of supporting characters and they don't all leave a good impression.
Yeah, and then some of them just have like maybe one or two appearances, not only either per episode, but just overall in the whole season, so it's hard to really get a grasp of them.
Yeah. Like,
one of the few times a 10-episode season is a little bit too, not too much. It's a little too little on this one.
Yeah, it's because it would have been nice to flesh out a few more things, and maybe not give Geralt his whole origin, but just see a bit of what it is to be a Witcher.
Right.
But you didn't need to do that in the first episode. Like, the first episode, I think, is borderline perfect. Like I said, the only problem I have is Strigobor, or whatever his name is. I'm still going to get it wrong. Because he can feel a little out of left field.
Right.
But the basic plot that Ciri and Geralt go through is very good.
Yes, very much so.
And I think it helps very much define their characters. Obviously, Ciri, because it's basically her origin story, whereas Geralt, it's very much a defining moment of his characterization.
Right.
So, and yeah, no, I'd say the first season is still pretty enjoyable. If you're worried about getting into it because you might be confused, you're probably not wrong.
No, I would wholeheartedly agree.
So you could always just wait and then do the first and second seasons when the second one comes out, because they are doing it.
Yeah, that was the main thing I was thinking about. Like, to me, it feels like one of those shows that maybe you want to binge, wait for the second season to drop, and then you can watch the first and second together. Yeah,
because I'm trying to remember how many. I'm going to quickly look this up, and of course, My Skype box is right in the middle of where I'm trying to read. Because there's 5, 6, 7. There's 8 books.
Okay.
And the first 2 are all short stories. I'm checking to see if Blood of Elves, the third one, is actually also. Nope, Blood of Elves is a more linear story. Yeah, so like that's the trick, right? Because they adapted a bunch of the short stories in the first season.
Okay.
So now we're getting to the Blood of Elves, which is where they, I believe, when they finally start to explore, Ciri and everything, and like her heritage.
Okay.
And then Triss actually has a bigger role, I think. But of course, Yennefer's still in it, and then Jaskier's in it. You know, all the classic characters, and then Philippa, I believe, is one of the main characters who I don't believe showed up in the first season.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, but she was a big deal in the games, especially in I think the second one. I believe that's when and then she showed up in 3 as well.
In the second one, she was more of a profound role in that.
Yeah, well, if you play 3 without having played 2, and they talk about Philippa in detail, you're just like, what?
Yeah.
At least I'm assuming that's what happens. I don't know if there's much else. Choreography. We haven't talked about choreography and the music.
Oh, yeah.
Both are top notch.
Yeah, very much so. Like, from attires to, like you said, the musical scores, the battles were some of the best things about the whole season for me.
Yeah. Absolutely.
There was some really good monster battles. I love the attempted the holy chain, the silver chain, and that just completely failed.
And so you know who one of the fight coordinators was?
Who?
The Night King.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Wow.
Like, in particular for the butchering scene.
Oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
And man, just let that sink in.
That makes sense.
Like, yeah. But, no shock, some people that worked on Game of Thrones also worked on The Witcher.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's been so many jokes about The Witcher, and it's the whole thing. But, and the music in particular is very good as well. It's very much on point, especially if you like the music from the games.
Right, yep.
Like, that'll probably be one of the most familiar elements, besides, of course, Geralt doing his thing. And if you never saw Ciri's origin before, it's a good time to see Ciri's origin.
Mm-hmm.
So for game fans, there's definitely stuff to enjoy. And then for book fans, it's a pretty loyal adaptation. People going in blind are probably going to struggle the most just because of the timeline thing. But by the 4th or 5th episode, you should be able to start to get
figure out what's going on.
But it's very much kind of like a Coen Brothers movie where you really have to pay attention.
Mm-hmm.
This is not a series you should watch while cooking. Because I know there are people that do that or like fall asleep to. Because you're absolutely going to need to go back and rewatch. It's not
definitely.
It's not going to become, unless you've already watched it, it's not going to become Friends. It's not going to become your background noise show.
I was about to say, no, it's not going to be that. You have to sit down and actually have a stable mindset of just watching it, concentrating on it.
Yeah, no, it's not one of those shows. So, do keep that in mind, but it is a pretty good show.
No, I'm really looking forward to season 2.
Yep. I just love the genre it's listed under. Fantasy, serial drama, adventure, action. Just looking at that. It's true, though. But I think we can move on to the rest of television.
Yep, in 2019.
I do want to just open with this just because we started talking about it last year.
Mm-hmm.
So we might as well wrap it up, and then we can just kind of go more freeform.
Okay.
So let's talk about Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the 2-part conclusion dropped earlier this month.
Yes.
Not that long ago, actually.
No, it was right just a few weeks ago. We pretty much just wrapped it up.
Yeah. And,
So I think this week, because this week is when all the CW shows that they joined together to make Crisis started re-airing, the rest of the half of the season for each one. So yeah, we've finished up Crisis in pretty much a good spot that allows for a lot of exploration for certain characters. I think some redemptions for certain characters that we didn't necessarily care for, Batwoman.
Yep. Oh, man, she's so good in these crossovers. Then you watch the show and you're just like,
Yeah, it's still rough.
It's the material mostly, I swear to God. And I'm not even like a big Ruby Rose fan. I'm just like, okay, she is better than this material.
Right. It's just, it's one of those things, man. She has a hard time making chicken salad out of this.
Yeah. That's one way of putting it. But, yeah, so I guess we should talk. So, when we left off, every Earth had been destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
And, man, and then everyone's like, oh, I bet we can't get an amazing cameo in the future episodes. Oh, boy.
Yes.
They saved the biggest cameo for last. And we do around, there was still a bunch of other stuff they did in the final episode, but
yeah,
nothing is going to top the cameo we got in episode 4. Because so episode 4, the whole thing is, and this part's very rushed.
Yes.
One of my biggest criticisms of the whole thing is how much they rushed this part of it. Oliver Queen becomes the Spectre, and then, they're very vague on what that means.
Yes.
But he's essentially the guardian of the universe.
Mm-hmm.
He's some combination Sith Lord, some combination Jedi, whatever. And he goes and he helps them travel through the Speed Force to the dawn of time.
Yes.
But the problem is the Anti-Monitor is now attacking the Speed Force, so that's
right.
a bad thing.
And it was one of those things where they figured out, hey, no matter what happens, no matter what we do, the Anti-Monitor is still going to be created.
Yeah.
So, like you said, man, I was so disappointed in just that rush nature of the revelation. Like, we knew it was going to happen, but I was kind of like hoping for something more than what they gave us.
Yeah, like I said, they should have done more stuff. I get they were doing the whole purgatory, resurrection, crazy evil thing.
Right.
But they should have really done something like, they should find him and he's like, I've been speaking to this man, and it reveals Jim Corrigan. And they have a longer exposition scene about, like, the nature of the Spectre and everything.
Exactly.
Don't get me wrong. Because, I mean, they decided not to foreshadow the Spectre in the Arrow final season, which was a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah. Anyway, ranting about the Spectre aside, this does lead to one of the best cameos they've done, because it is such a Flash thing. It is such a Flash thing. So, at one point, he ends up in Star Labs and meets Barry Allen.
Yes.
Played by Ezra Miller.
Yes.
The one from the DC live-action films.
Yes.
And if you thought there were rumors that Ezra Miller wasn't going to play the Flash anymore, it's heavily implied he still is.
He's still a part of it. It's awesome. I was so surprised with that. Like, I knew there were rumors about it potentially happening, but until I saw it, I was just not believing it.
Yeah. I'm feeling that. And, yeah, so they had a really great interaction where it suggested that, TV Flash gives Movie Flash the idea for his name.
Yes!
And it's such a delightful meta moment. And it wouldn't shock me in the slightest if in the Flash film they actually show this scene.
Yeah.
But from Ezra's point of view.
Yeah, I was about to say from his point of view, or some kind of recreation of it, him just telling the story of how it became.
Because, like I said, it's such a Flash thing. And it's just like, oh my god. It was perfect.
It really was.
Yeah, it's like, almost all, like, the special cameos they had where they actually were involved in the plot and not just like, hey, here's a brief look before this place gets destroyed. Because those were fine, but it's still like, oh. Because, like, the one from Smallville with Tom Welling was great.
Yeah, that's the one that, like, until the Flash moment, that was the one that stood out the most for me.
Yep. And, of course, we got a little bit more with Brandon Routh playing the Richard Donner Superman.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still sad we didn't see Linda Carter at all.
I know.
Because she's no longer the president.
Yeah.
And we didn't even see her on Earth 73.
No, not at all.
Which I'm presuming that's what that was a reference to.
Yeah.
So, that was a bummer. But we still got a bunch of, like, the amount of people we actually got in there was pretty great. And then, plot-wise, Episode 4 is basically the defeat of the Anti-Monitor after doing a bunch of stuff in the Speed Force and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And then, they managed to fight. My favorite point of this, Ryan Choi's there. And, he helps convinced the Monitor at first to not go create the Anti-Monitor, but well, that effort is ultimately meaningless.
Right.
It does give us an origin for the Anti-Monitor.
Anyway.
Yeah. So there's still some meaning in all this, and it also gives us an interesting bit of Lex Luthor, where he does try to be a hero, but also try to, of course, exploit things because he's Lex Luthor.
It's like I want to be a hero in this case, but as long as it works out for me in the end.
Yeah. No, because that's kind of the interesting shift that Lex Luthor has, because this isn't the best Lex just in terms of characterization, but John Cryer's performance is still really good.
Yeah, like I said, it's just one of those things. The material that he's working with is not on par with the person that's actually playing the character.
Yeah, like I always thought it would have been better if this wasn't Lex Luthor, but like another major like crime boss type character or whatnot. But you get with what you're dealt. I mean, because otherwise it's fine. But it's just the fact that his Lex is like, he shouldn't be so blatant. Anyway, so, sorry, I kind of derailed myself ranting about Lex Luthor.
I'm coming off of episode 4.
I want to get in Ryan Choi, because it's like, they shove Ryan Choi in there, and then in frickin' episode 4, they have to fight the Shadow Demons, and then Ryan Choi just runs in with his fists, because he doesn't have any weaponry, he doesn't have the Atom suit yet.
Nothing.
He's just going in, swinging his fists. And it's just like, oh boy. But it's so great, because he's just like punching demons while everyone else is like, I got batarangs, I got energy blasts, I'm using heat vision. It's like, I got my fists.
Everybody's being strategic. He's just like, I gotta punch things. I have no choice but to do this.
Well, it reminds me of, have you ever seen Return of the Incredible Hulk?
Yes.
Yeah, where it's like, Thor is using his hammer, Hulk is smashing, and then Donald Blake picks up a gun and just shoots the guy. It's like, oh, right, there's a normal human here.
Yeah, so that's the world we're in now.
Yeah. So the fight for what it is all right, and well, they don't do the best setup for the cheese ball line that Oliver, of course, has to say. It is still fitting that that's what it's been leading up to. Yeah. You have failed this universe.
Yeah.
It's still like, that's awesome and terrible at the same time. Yeah, it's one of those ones that could have used a polish. And of course, the final fight takes place in a rock quarry, because of course it does. That part of this crossover felt very Power Rangers.
Yeah. I was like, I understand you're trying to keep the budget. Like I said, I know they use a lot of it in episodes 4 and 5. But I was like, man, y'all really went like straight up Power Rangers with those.
Yeah, and the CG was really rough in a few scenes.
Yeah, especially on episode 6. Oh my goodness.
Episode 5?
Episode 5. Yeah, my bad.
There was a 6th episode?
Yeah, that's a
Did
mysterious
Pedro explain
6th
the
episode.
Spectre and how that? Yeah.
You missed that was the mysterious 6th episode. It's an hour of Lex Luthor telling jokes.
Oh man. But yeah. So and of course the big thing is at the end of it they do restart the Earth. And at first you're wondering if it's just one Earth, but then episode 5 confirms there's a new multiverse.
Yes. And then the big tease. The big tease.
Oh my god, all the other Earths.
Yeah.
Where the sequence where it's more or less a trailer for the other shows.
Yes.
Which is fair, because it also shows like some interesting stuff there. Because we get like Titans, we get Swamp Thing, we get Doom Patrol, and we get...
that's right. Yeah, I was trying to think of the other one. I forgot about Doom Patrol. That was the other one.
And Stargirl.
Yeah.
That's also in there.
Which is so depressing now when you think about the fate of some of these shows.
Well, yeah, Swamp Thing's gone.
Yeah.
Titans, I think, is getting a 3rd.
Is it getting a 3rd?
I've heard it's getting a 3rd. I don't know about Doom Patrol.
I don't think Doom Patrol's getting anything else.
No, I think that's it for Doom Patrol.
Yeah.
But, I just got an email just right now. Sorry, it's very random aside. I just got an email that opened with "Good afternoon." It's 8 in the morning here. Sorry to completely break down the podcast for a second, but I just had to point that out.
Good afternoon. Swamp Thing is coming back.
Yeah, that would have been nice.
Oh,
but yeah, no, and the big crux is now everybody's on the same Earth, like of the core shows.
Yeah.
So Batwoman, Supergirl, Arrow. Well, Arrow first.
Yeah,
What matters.
The Arrowverse is all on the same Earth now.
Yeah, there's 2 episodes left after the crossover, and one of them was a backdoor pilot.
Yeah.
That just wraps up Mia's story, which, I mean, I guess some people care. Yeah, so all that, and then, what is it? Black Lightning's now in the same universe.
Yep. Which
is cool. Yeah, so we still got Batwoman, we still got Flash, and of course Legends.
Yeah,
Legends.
Yeah.
And we did get confirmation that Superman and Lois is happening. So that's going to be a new spin-off.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's going to be any good, of course.
Yes, I don't know if it's going to amount to much, but hey, here's hoping.
Well, the 2 actors, I can't even think of their names now. Ty Hodgson and, Elizabeth Tulloch.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
They're both pretty good, but man, some of the throwaway bits with them have not done them any favors.
No, not at all.
The scene where one Lois Lane is crying over one dead Superman is pretty rough.
Yeah.
I know they showed it in just news footage, but it still looks bad.
It still looks really bad.
The performance looks bad. The CG looks bad.
It was a bad shot, period.
Oh, yeah, they especially because they used that in the trailers. I'm just like, really?
Yeah, that was the craziest thing. When I saw it, I was like, why would you use this?
Yeah. Yeah. But, I don't know if there's much else to really...
No. Like I said, it was a solid crossover. I thought it did a pretty good job.
And yeah, the wrap up at the end was pretty enjoyable.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite parts too. Yeah, a nice little wrap up. That was really good.
And of course, they had a few moments of levity.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it really fits in given what happened in the season opener of Legends. Did you see what happened in that one?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, Rasputin. You know what? You want to know what it's like to be Thanos when the internet gets involved?
Yeah.
Oh boy. I should have seen that coming, and I was still shocked. Oh, dear God. But no. I think overall, Crisis on Earth X is probably still my favorite.
Yeah, I was about to say it still didn't beat that.
That's right.
I said it still didn't beat that.
Yeah. But I'd say this is number 2 for me now. I liked it way more than Elseworlds.
Oh yes. Yes.
I really didn't like Elseworlds that much.
Me either.
I think because the pacing of what they were trying to do with Elseworlds with some of the storyline was really good, but it was just all over the place.
Yeah, it really was. It had no kind of solid direction for a majority.
Like the scenes with Oliver and the Monitor in that one were great, which is why I can never hate that.
Mm-hmm.
And they actually had some stakes involved, which I appreciated, but still. And then, of course, Crisis on Earth X was because there were stakes, people died, stuff happened. That was pretty good. And then Invasion was very much kind of meh.
Yeah.
Because that one very much felt like, oh yeah, now we're doing this episode.
Yeah, I think that was just one of those things, like, they had an idea, but they hadn't really planned it out as well as they wanted to. Like, they were just getting their feet wet in this situation.
Yeah, exactly. Crisis on Earth X, they balanced it a bit better.
Mm-hmm.
Because, while they still had episodes that clearly focused on certain characters more than others, it still felt more like a coherent narrative that wasn't leaning on that too much.
Exactly.
The first episode of this really felt like a Supergirl episode.
Yeah, it really did.
Which is understandable given what happens, but still. And then, but yeah. No, overall, I quite enjoyed Crisis. And,
yeah, same here.
I mean, it was probably the best they could have done with the budget they had and everything. And, yeah, I don't think we're going to get another adaptation like this for a while.
Yeah, same here. Yeah, I think they've kind of run the gamut on that situation, and I think they might give it a break for a while.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, same here. Like I said, I think they end on a strong note if they do.
Yep. We'll see what happens, though, because they did set up, well, they can call it the Justice League, and then they played the Super Friends theme.
Yeah!
And freaking Gleek. Of course they reference Gleek. So I guess we'll see what happens there. But, yeah. I think that about covers that. Do you want to talk about a show next?
Yeah, well, I don't know how much you've been watching it. It's probably one of my favorites of 2019, just because I never was a big Sons of Anarchy fan, but I just love Mayans MC.
Yeah, I'm keeping up with it as much as I did Sons of Anarchy.
Yeah.
And even then, I didn't keep up with Sons of Anarchy that well.
Right. Same here. It's like I enjoyed watching Sons of Anarchy when I caught it, but it wasn't like it was necessary viewing for me every week.
Yeah, no, I know. Yeah, because we know a guy who loves that show.
Oh, yeah.
And, yeah, it was just never that much of a priority for me.
Yeah, same here. Like I said.
still call it, like, I think one of the best modern prestige dramas, but it was always, like, I'd still rank it, like, below The Wire and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, the big ones, but it's definitely, like, you know, scraping, like, it's probably in the same category as Justified.
Yeah, I would put it in that. Yeah, I would put it a little bit above Justified.
Oh, above Justified, okay.
Oh yeah, I would.
I was gonna put him about on par.
No, I'll put it above Justified.
And I love Justified.
Yeah, no, I'll put it above Justified.
Okay.
But season 2 of Mayans MC, I think this season was a lot more family focused. Like it felt like they were really establishing a lot about just the biker narrative and kind of the mystery about what's going on between the lead character Easy and his relationship with the government. Whereas this one was like more of a family-oriented thing, and they kind of focused firstly on his family, and then they kind of moved on to the biker family. And I thought they did a really good job this season of just getting everyone emotionally invested in the connections and the relationships with certain characters. Like certain characters they didn't really even get that much screen time last season definitely stood out this season, especially during the last few episodes. Like they did some cliffhanger moments between the last 2 episodes of the season that just, I was surprised they would go so hard so early in the series. Like, I don't know how many seasons they're going to go for, but for a second season, they went hard. At the end of it, like, okay, we may not have another few seasons left, so let's try to get as much as we can in here. But it still worked.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I don't have much to add to the show. Well, that's not true. I watched season 1, and I thought it was alright.
Yeah. Season 2 was a lot better.
Okay.
Yeah.
I should definitely watch season 2.
Yeah, season 2 was a lot better. A lot stronger.
Yeah. I don't know if there's much else you want to add there.
No. That's all I have for that.
Alright, so I want to talk about Succession.
Okay.
And how it's my favorite show that I have a very hard time watching. Like, this is a weird comparison to make, but you know what show this reminds me of?
What?
Have you ever seen Grand Blue?
Mm-hmm.
It feels like that. But, like, rather than just depraved, stupid teenagers just ruin each other's lives because they're stupid teenagers.
Right.
And for some reason have no problem with incest. It still bothers me about that show.
Yeah, it really was. It was weird.
Oh, my God.
That was so weird.
It's like, oh, she's just so-and-so. It's like, that's not a normal thing. Anyway. But, yeah, no, Succession, Season 2 in particular, had a lot of really good character moments, which helps cement why it's such a popular show. Because, like, I don't enjoy the train wreck stuff that happens with these people.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes it hard for me to care about any of them because they're so unlikable.
Right.
And not like a fun Sunny in Philadelphia cartoon way. You know, it's just like, oh my God, why do I want to watch these people?
Mm-hmm.
Like, but at the same time, there's so many good scenes. It's like, I think that was, I'm wondering if that's what they were banking on. It's like, if we just have a lot of really good scenes, we can make these people the worst. Because I guess, like, there's no character that's supposed to be, like,
actually likable.
Yeah. I appreciate that everyone's supposed to be incredibly flawed and incredibly, but still have good qualities. It's very hard to find the good qualities on almost any of them. Like, you feel bad for characters when they get ripped apart. Like Kendall is still somehow a sympathetic character.
Right.
Despite all his many character flaws. Including the thing that happened at the end of Season 1. Oh, boy. But, yeah, like, just the heart of this, where he's trying to struggle with his complicated relationship with his father, is really good. And, of course, the big hook at the end does set up for some interesting drama. But, of course, then you remember, oh, right, I hate these people. So it's like, I don't know if I want to watch Season 3, but I'm probably going to end up watching Season 3. Like, and it sounds like I'm bashing the show, and I suppose I'm not so much bashing it, it's just saying why it's not for me, because I can't get into that type of a thing.
Right.
But at the same time, I'm saying, despite that, I still enjoy it, which is weird.
Yeah.
it's like the most fascinating hate watch I've ever had. Because I don't think it's a bad show. I just cannot, I don't know. Have you've watched it before, yeah?
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Okay, I was going to say, this is a scan for you at all.
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's just,
It's a car crash to a certain extent. Like you said, you just can't look away, but...
Yeah, it's such a...
The redeeming qualities are so few and far between.
I know, but at the same time, it's like, when you find them, you're just like, that's good.
Really, really good.
Yeah, what the hell? Speaking of car crashes, Game of Thrones. Moving on. You know what? I'm going to slip that into our list of... Anyway, do you have another show you want to dive into?
Well, one I know we both watched, and I had to just actually look it up to make sure that it actually came out in 2019. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 6.
Oh, yeah, no. Oh, man.
I completely forgot that came out last year. I thought it was 2018 for some reason.
Well, considering the production and everything. Yeah, how did you feel about this season?
It was a mixed bag.
Yeah.
That's the best way I can put it. It was a mixed bag. Like, we had, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. in space the last season, and that started off a little rough, got better, and then,
oh, boy, did that start off rough.
Yeah. And then, by the end, to me, like I said, we talked about it, the way they ended that season, like the perfect ending of the overall series. Yeah. And then we came into season 6, and a lot of things had changed for obvious reasons. And then we had this big revelation that Phil Coulson wasn't dead, or was he? And just it was weird. Like I get what they were trying to go for, but it was just it was rough. It was rough. Even for 13 episodes, it was still rough.
Well, Sarge's whole arc was just painful.
Yes,
I found it, and like yeah, the freaking dimensional jumper people, I just found it really hard to care about them.
Yeah.
It felt like they added some drama for the sake of adding drama.
Mm-hmm. As well as like they once they did the whole space gimmick, like that was literally them jumping the shark for them, where they did the space gimmick, so they opened up the door for like a lot of more weird, just absolutely time traveling, portal jumping stuff, and they just went like full blast with it because they couldn't reel it back in.
No, and like the portal stuff just did not work the same way.
No, not at all.
I mean, there were some fun moments. Like I always love when it's like, oh yeah, we need quartz. And it's like, what? You're robbing a jewelry store for quartz? Like, that was a great bit, but like everything with basically everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
what about Deke becoming
Adventure to Find Fitz was all right.
Yeah, no. What about Deke? What about Deke becoming a freaking multimillionaire because of his?
I know they were struggling with what to do with the character, but dear God,
I still want my grandparents' love.
Yep.
I don't know.
I did love the subplot in his return episode though, with his producer or whatever.
Oh yeah.
And it gets live blogged.
Yeah.
That was one of the funniest bits. And that's actually one of the producers on the show, right?
Yes, yeah. Yeah, that was really good. I did enjoy that too. That really was.
Yeah, that was freaking great. Probably the weakest season so far.
Yeah, probably since the first one. And the first one was one of those things where they were trying to establish a lot of stuff and just took their sweet time with it. So it took a while before the season really got good. But once it did, it was really, really fun. This was one of those seasons that was just such a mixed bag. Like, one episode would be really good, next episode, or next, like, 2 episodes would be pretty unwatchable or just completely forgettable, and then another good episode. And as if for 13 episodes, that's not a good way to have it. The peaks and valleys for that one was just a little bit too much for 13 episodes.
Yeah, that about sums it up. I was just looking at season 7, because it is officially the last season.
Right, yeah, season 7 is going to be the last one, yep.
Yep, and I was just looking at the notes, and yeah, no shock. The main cast looks unchanged. Mm-hmm. And they confirmed a couple of guest stars, including Colonel Richard Stoner is going to show up.
Wow!
Did you see who's playing him? Patrick Warburton.
Oh wow!
I know, right? I'm kind of looking forward to that now, because this is because they're doing more time travel.
Mm-hmm.
because they went to like the past, right? That's what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, which of course is Haley Atwell's going to show up as Carter at some point.
Exactly.
You can't avoid that. At
No, it's got to happen.
But I just love because they've released the episode titles. You want me to read them to you real quick?
Yeah, I see them.
Yeah. So we got Know Your Onion.
Yes.
The New Deal, which that makes sense.
That's obvious.
Alien Commies from the Future. Out of the Past. A Trout in the Milk. Adapt or Die. The Totally Excellent Adventures of Mac and the D. Which you have to imagine that's a Derek and Mac episode.
I was gonna say, man, that's definitely gonna be it.
Yep. After, before. As I Have Always Been. Stolen. Brand New Day. The End is at Hand, and What We're Fighting For. So that'll be an interesting little cluster of.
It's gonna be interesting to see how they tie it all together, because, like they said, they promoted it kind of as a time travel. Hey, we're gonna look at the history of the history of Shield. So I'm assuming that a majority of it will feel like standalone episodes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I imagine because when they showed up in the past. It was right when the Empire State Building was getting built, so I imagine the first 2 episodes in particular, especially because episode 2 is just the New Deal, those will probably focus on, like, Great Depression era stuff.
Right.
Because, like, that's right around when the Empire State Building was when Hooverville, I believe, was a big thing.
Yep.
If I'm remembering, my history is probably not great as I think I am. Yeah, and if you didn't see the big twist, yes, Phil Coulson is back, but he's an LMD now.
Yes. Yeah.
Because the real him did, in fact, die at the end of Season 5. They made it clear in the flashbacks in Season 6, which were quite good.
Like I said, peaks and valleys. There's a lot of good stuff, a lot more bad stuff, but it was a mixed bag overall,
Yeah, absolutely. Freaking Deke.
Yeah. Oh, man.
I just can't even. So, speaking of history.
Okay.
I do want to talk about this because this kind of snuck up on me as well. And then, because this came out in November.
Okay.
But we got Season 3 of The Crown. Which is that show I love to watch over Christmas because I usually because I'm usually, like, around with family or something. So it's like, I'll sit down and chill and watch it, and if then, like, someone walks in and is like, oh, I watched this show too. So it's like, good. Come watch with me. So yeah, we got the 3rd season where we finally had a visible changing of the characters, as it were, because we've gotten to the point where everyone's getting older. So while there was no point in recasting Winston Churchill for his 1 episode guest spot, basically everyone else is now played by someone else if they're still around. Like Olivia Colman's now playing the Queen. Which, man, that is a golden casting choice. She went from playing one queen to another. And we got, this is one of the weirder ones I always thought was Tobias Menzies from Matt Smith. I'm like, really? Because they don't, they pulled it off, but I mean, those 2 guys look way less alike than Claire Foy and Olivia Colman do.
Right.
Like, you can buy Olivia Colman kind of being the age version of Claire Foy, but still it's like, oh. Although, of course, eye color is the thing. But, there's ways around that. And then, of course, Vanessa Kirby going to Helena Bonham Carter. It's like, really? But, yeah, the big thing is, of course, this is where it all begins, because this is where Prince Charles becomes a major player. And a major subplot of the whole season is his relationship with Camilla Shand.
Right.
Which, for those who are familiar, is also Camilla Bowles.
Mm-hmm.
Or Parker Bowles, I should say. And so, yeah, this dives into how all that started. Because if you're even remotely familiar with the Royals, it's like, oh boy, this is a thing. So, like, that's one of the big hooks, besides the fact that we're now following Harold Wilson as the Prime Minister. Because, I mean, for those who aren't familiar, one of the things the Crown follows to help with the timeline jumps is each season follows a different Prime Minister. So we had season 1, we had Winston Churchill, and he still made some guest spots after that, but, I mean, he was very much out of focus after that. And then, I can't even think of the name of the guy who's in season 2. But then, yeah, season 3, it's now, like, 64 to 1977.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, which really shows how far back this all went. And, of course, if you're at all familiar with how TV shows like to play with their historical fiction, it's a bit overdramatic at points. But, you know, and they have some great casting choices. Because, like, season 3, we had Charles Dance very much comes into his forefront here. He's really great in it. Yeah, and like I said, we got the whole new cast. And I don't know if there's much else to really say. Like, it's just there's all kinds of stuff because of course you got the Cold War. You know, you got Vietnam. You got the moon landing. All this stuff happens, and like I said, we got the whole affair. Plus, there was you kind of see the ground laid for Thatcherism, which is which, as you can imagine, will probably get pretty interesting. I don't think it's season 5 that they would do that. I'm trying to remember who the heck was Prime Minister after Wilson. I don't know. But then, yeah, like the big thing is, of course, it also ends with the Queen's Silver Jubilee.
Mm-hmm.
So, they've told 25 years of her reign over, I'm trying to think of how many episodes per season, because it was 10 episodes, which is great. You know, that's the perfect number, I think. But, sorry, much like with Mayans MC, I didn't have much to add. Now it's like, oh yeah, Crown.
Oh
yeah.
man.
Although it is also worth knowing that Ted Heath also becomes Prime Minister partway through the season, but like Wilson, like he's the focus one for most of it.
Right.
Yeah. I like the Crown. No,
it fits me to a T.
Sure. Go with that. Do you have another show you wanted to dive into?
Oh, yeah. Another one I know we watched, and I just thought about it once again while you were talking. Oh, Rick and Morty Season 4.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Didn't talk about it. We didn't talk about first half of Bojack. We didn't talk about Rick and Morty.
That's true. Oh, yeah. Okay, so let's talk about Rick and Morty and Bojack. Those are probably the big two. And then I think we're getting close to time already.
Yeah, so. yeah. We'll just do a rapid fire at the end of that, after the other one.
So, yeah, Rick and Morty Season 4. I really like this one.
Yeah. 5 episodes.
Yep. Yeah, it was a shame there was only 5,
yeah.
But I mean, because like I was surprised when I'm like, oh, there's no new episode. Oh, Season 4's already over.
Yeah.
But what was it? Just episode 5 with just sending Jerry inflated. Just oh my god. And it just perfectly summed up the stupid pride on display with that whole sequence. There's a frank point at one point where Rick and Jerry talk, and it's like either way, you lose.
And then, I mean, even, like you said, once again, stupid proud with Jerry, the second episode of the season, where they tell him, do not make an app.
Oh, yeah!
And just don't do it. You've never done this before in your whole life. Why would you want to do it now? Especially with something that's telling you that's all it wants to do. That's his main opera. Like, that's the only thing he wants to do is to make an app. And Jerry just cannot help himself. He just cannot feel insignificant or just inferior at all to Rick. And it just screws up every time.
The casting of that episode was so fascinating.
Yeah.
Because first, like the guy they're not supposed to make an app with is Gluty,
yes.
Played by Taika Waititi, because of course Taika Waititi's in the show. But then, like later on, they meet the leaders of an alien planet. It's freaking Sam Neill and Kathleen Turner.
Yes.
And meanwhile, freaking Rick has a whole rivalry with a guy named Tony, played by Jeffrey Wright.
Yes.
It's just like what? But it's very much. I love Rick because Rick's toilet very much feels like peak Rick.
Yes, it really was.
You know?
Just for him to be that petty, like the entire time, like just over something that you would think like the smartest man in the universe wouldn't care about. He could just make another one somewhere. No, this is his toilet.
Yeah. Well, it's very much him because he feels that smart, he feels that validated, so he has to have that private thing. And what was it? Because like if you played the VR game, Rick goes through all that rigmarole, including battling an alien that's about to destroy the Earth just to get laundry detergent.
Right.
So, it very much feels in character for him. And then, oh yeah. But of course, the episode, I believe it was the third one, is the one that got super memed. That's the heist episode.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just funny, like, I enjoyed it, but it wasn't my favorite episode of the season. Like, probably made the weakest episode for me.
Probably, because it's just making fun of heists.
Right.
But at the same time, like...
It's still done incredibly well.
And, of course, everyone's favorite line from the whole thing, "You son of a bitch, I'm in."
Yeah!
Like I said, that's the part that got memed the most.
And the best part about, like you said, for people that didn't see it, it wasn't even like you have to talk to them. Like, it gradually it just deteriorated as the conversations got less and less. It didn't matter. Rick didn't have to say anything. He would just walk into a room and somebody would see him, and it's like, "Son of a bitch, I'm in."
Yeah. Like that's because that's very much the whole point of heist films. I always love that when they did that in MacGruber the movie, where they have all these WWE wrestlers get recruited, and then he just accidentally blows them all up. Very much on point there.
I'll spoil the first episode of the season. It was one of my favorite post-credit gags because the whole episode is based around Rick and Morty finding this thing that, and Rick already knows about it. They can tell you when you're about to die or how you're about to die. If you try to modify your life, you could maybe have the best ending possible. And the way Morty finds out how he's going to die, the best ending that he's been searching for, and he finds out the whole thing, he just becomes so pissed off with everything. Like, just whatever you want to do, Rick. If I die, I do not care anymore. That dark humor was just absolutely perfect.
Well, the dark humor in the first episode in particular is because Morty essentially gets Rick killed.
Yes!
And then Rick keeps dying because... call back to season 1, I believe it is. Or was it season 1 or season 2 where Tiny Rick happens?
Tiny Rick season 2.
Yeah. So call back to season 2 with Project Phoenix.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah. One of the whole bits is Morty essentially pulls an Akira. Which is a reference I will always appreciate.
Oh,
you said 2 being the weakest. I think I've only watched episode 4 once, and that one really didn't stick with me.
Was that the Dragons episode?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that was the weakest. Yeah.
Yeah, like I get what you're saying. Or sorry, yeah, you said 3 was the weakest, right?
No. You're right. 4 is definitely the weakest. Yeah.
I'm just saying because like even if nothing else, yeah, episode 3, Mr. Poopy Butthole's return.
Oh yeah, yeah. He's still got that cane, poor thing.
And of course, you son of a bitch. Such a glorious little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, episode 5 and episode 1 are both really great. And
yeah.
2 was pretty good too. Like, yeah, 3 and 4 are probably the weakest, but even then they're still.
Yeah, like you said, 4 is definitely the weakest though out of all of them.
Yeah. Like I don't even know what else to. Which is a shame because it had freaking Matthew Broderick in there.
I know.
So many good cameos. And of course, though, episode 5, I'm sure one of the reasons he signed up for this is because of the credit he was going to get. Keegan-Michael Key as Testicle Monster number 1.
Yes! Always screwing up the time, man. Always screwing it up, I swear.
Yeah. Oh, man, so many. Yeah, no, it's, I don't know if there's much else to say. It's very much peak Rick and Morty.
Yeah. I'm like you said, it was one of those things like, man, I can't believe it's already over. But if they can like put out 5 episodes a lot quicker than they would have to take to do 10 or 15 an entire season, I'm perfectly fine with this if this is the quality we're going to get.
Yeah, like technically it was only half of season 4. Apparently they are saying the other half are going to come out in 2020.
Okay, cool.
But they don't know when.
Yeah, I'm perfectly fine. Like whenever you want to come with it, I'm fine.
Yep, I'll allow it.
I'll allow it. Son of a bitch, I'm in.
No, it's if you had misgivings about season 3, season 4 I think is for you.
Yeah.
And even if you didn't, season 4 is for you.
It's still for you. It's still for you.
You son of a bitch, I'm in. God, every time I say that, I'm just realizing how good that catchphrase is.
How good that gag is.
It really much is. Oh my god. All right, so we want to talk about because we're starting to get the time, and
we're just rapid fire here.
Soon. But BoJack Horseman, season 6,
the final season.
Oh boy, this is a heck of a season.
Yeah, because season 5 ended with BoJack finally going to rehab and realizing that he's hit rock bottom. You know, he's finally responsible for so much death and damnation around his life.
Yep.
And we see his struggle, trying to come to grips with sobriety, and the fact is that even sober, he's still an addict of something.
Yep. It's just... it's a very rough, introspective... everything.
I mean, and we've had some, like, real dark episodes throughout the series, especially last season. Last season got dark a couple of episodes, even when they try to keep it kind of lighthearted, like his mother's funeral. And it's still some dark episodes. Like this one, though, it just has a cloud over it the majority of the whole time.
Oh, yeah. No, even, like, the fun episodes are still like, ooh.
I mean, and of course, our favorite happy-go-lucky dog, Mr. Peanut Butter, even has, like, this incredible breakdown moment. That it's done absolutely hilariously as him and his fiancée are walking around their house insulting everyone that they know and not knowing that they're in the house with them.
Oh yeah, no, surprise. Just like the ways they get around the fact that they were all there for a surprise party and then they have to sneak around.
Yeah.
That is one of the greatest ongoing gags of an episode. And of course, I always love the return of Captain Peanut Butter.
Yes.
Although, we still got another great character, which is Dr. Champ. But we'll get back to him, because we're talking about Peter. Yeah, because, Surprise is probably one of the best episodes of the season.
Mm-hmm. I would wholeheartedly agree with that, too. Like, that was the best overall just feeling of a BoJack episode. You got the humor, you got the darkness, you got the story revelations. Like, just everything flowed really well with that one.
Yeah. And then, which one is the one where, Champ and BoJack talk in the room for most of the time? Is that episode 7 or is that 6?
I think that's episode 5?
No, that's 6 actually.
Oh, 6. Okay.
Yeah, 5 is the one where Champ is like, BoJack, you need to leave rehab.
Okay.
Yeah, 6 is really good in that regard. Because if nothing else, I really love the interplay between Champ and BoJack in that one.
Yeah.
Episode 8, I like what they tried to do. That one didn't work for me.
Oh, the first half finale.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Like the cliffhanger was great for me, but beyond that, like I said, I understand what they were trying to do, but it just felt so odd.
Yeah, it was a little off-putting to have so much focus on some of the side characters. Like Hollyhock being in focus isn't terrible.
No, not at all.
Yeah, but
but just the way it was done.
What's her nuts? The quirky 1920s reporter.
Mm-hmm.
She
that
did
was
not
that
have a full
gag.
episode.
That gag fell on deaf ears fast. Like that was like that I don't even know how to describe. It was just really bad. Just really...
I love that voice as much as anyone. Don't do a whole thing about that.
No, not at all.
Like, I was pitching a comedy bit earlier where I would dress up as a 1920s tennis umpire and say old-timey things, but I'm like, it's probably good that I don't have to keep my mouth open the entire time.
Right.
If I'm the judge or whatever. Oh, man. But, it's a pretty good just season about depression, addiction. Diane has a whole thing, of course. Because, of course, she does.
Like I said, I mean, her character is pretty much still going through the same thing. And it's very incredible when you consider, like, her involvement in trying to get BoJack clean. And in reality, a lot of the same faults that she's had throughout the entire series still are replaying.
Yeah.
Like, she's still addicted to the same stuff that she's doing for the last 6 seasons now. And maybe we're chipping away at it, and maybe we're not.
It's hard to say.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, they're clearly headed towards something for the finale.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the second half of the season, but it's like... the next... Oh, man, I forgot. The second half of the season is going to come out the day we drop this episode.
Okay, that's perfect. That's perfect for everyone that's listening who doesn't want to watch it.
I guess we'll wrap up BoJack next time.
Yeah, that'll be the next one. It'll be the BoJack finale.
We can build up on anything we didn't talk about here.
Yeah.
But, it's... you can see where they're going with all the characters because they're dealing with their whole thing. Because Pickles and Peanut Butter have a whole thing.
Yeah.
Diane's having a thing with her cameraman Guy.
Mm-hmm.
What the heck was it? Who the heck plays Guy again? Oh yeah, Lakeith Stanfield.
That's right. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, because basically, everybody in this is
everybody somebody.
Everybody, yeah, basically everybody. Like, there's a random bit where it's like, where they're in rehab. It's like, you're clearly actress Jeananne Triplehorn. And
yeah.
Jeananne Triplehorn. And of course, Margot Martindale as esteemed character actress Margot Martindale.
Yeah.
Which is her actual credit in the show. Oh man. Yeah. I don't know what, because it's very much a show you kind of have to experience in that regard.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, with the whole. And Princess Carolyn has a whole thing where she has to struggle with, air quotes, having it all because she has her kid, she has her career, and there's a really dark gag where she, at one point, accidentally puts her kid in the microwave.
Yeah, that's right.
It's just a side gag, and like obviously she doesn't actually start the microwave.
No, but it's
God.
a part of the gimmick. It's a part of the whole gag, and he said when it happens, like, wow.
Yeah, it's just like, oh my God, that could have. Oh, I think that was the gag that made a lot of people uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It was like, it's funny, but it's like, oh no. Yeah, because this one's. Yeah, because essentially the point of the episode, I think it would say, is just trying to, we have this glory of, oh, I can handle everything. It's like, yeah, you realize how much hard work that is?
Yeah.
Because I think if there's anything, BoJack over the seasons shows how hard life can be.
Yes.
If you're struggling with addiction, struggling to find a purpose,
No
struggling with depression.
No matter where you are at in life, it's hard for everyone if you're trying to just live at times.
Yeah, and it does it through the glitz of Hollywood and stuff
mm-hmm.
and whatnot in this weird animal universe. It's still, I think, is very relatable in that respect, which has always been a charm of the series.
Yeah.
And yeah, I guess we'll just see how
it wraps up.
Yep. Hopefully it doesn't do anything too outrageous.
It was all a dream. It was all a dream.
Oh man. It feels like the type of show that would make a joke about that, though.
And it actually could happen.
Yeah. Maybe they'll do a callback and have it turn out it was a shockingly good screenplay written by Vincent Adultman.
Oh man, that's why he disappeared so early.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that character really overstayed his welcome.
I know.
Don't get me wrong, I love almost every joke about him was great, but then yeah. All right. I don't know if there's any other shows you want to talk about. Chernobyl is still one of my favorites of the year.
Snowfall season 3 was really great. Enjoyed that a lot. I enjoy Snowfall in general. One of the newer shows that came out this season, in 2019, was the Righteous Gemstones. I think we both enjoyed that.
Oh yeah. And I think we're getting another season of that.
Yeah, I hope we do. That was a really good show. I mean, pretty much just a bunch of scandalous preachers. The whole scandalous preaching family. The big shots.
Man, I can't imagine if that's relatable.
Yeah! They're the big shots in their respective areas and towns. And like I said, just the evolution of certain characters throughout that season was really good. I thought it was a really fun show. I didn't expect to like it as much as I did and was blown away. Yeah,
it's clear what they were parodying is worth parodying.
Right. Especially Baby Billy.
But the substance, you need the substance. You can't just have a solid parody.
Right. I mean, it's a family show. That's really what it is. It's about a family. It's just they just so happen to be muddy, grubbing preachers.
Yeah, it's not the joke. It's also got the heart.
Right.
And I mean, the only thing that could potentially go wrong is if they try to make us sympathize with these guys too much.
Exactly.
Which is so it kind of walks that line where Succession tries very hard to make us not sympathize with people, and then it's hey, guess what? You do sympathize with them. And you're like, oh man. Where in this case, it's no, we can kind of sympathize with them, but we're not rooting for them exactly.
Exactly. They're trying to absolve themselves, but still don't trust them.
Yeah, that probably about sums it up.
Yeah. Solid year for television.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, there's so many other shows we didn't even talk
Oh,
about.
no,
I mean,
it's a lot else, but I mean, just overall, the stuff that kind of like popped out in the forefront.
well, I'm perpetually behind on Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, which I know gets a lot of flack for some of the recent historical portrayers, but in general, still a very fun show. And then I haven't seen any of Fleabag. I need to watch Fleabag.
I know, same here.
Because that's one of the ones that gets a lot of hype.
I feel so bad I have not seen any of it yet.
Yeah, and just watch. I'm gonna go back to see my my relatives at some point, and it's gonna be like, hey, look, we have Disney Plus. Have you seen this new show Disney put out that I didn't know was a thing? It's like, yeah. All right, I think that's gonna wrap it up for this episode.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah.
And I guess we will tease next week by saying episode 69.
Yes.
Nice.
Yes.
69, nice.
Yes.
We'll include the finale of Bojack.
Yes, that's guaranteed.
Well, yeah, because we can easily do 8 episodes in like a week before we record.
Yeah, that'll work out. It's only 8 episodes too, so it'll be an easy watch.
Oh yeah, even if you just do 2 episodes a night, that's 4 days.
Yeah, it's easy.
Yep. All right. I think until next time, folks, just always remember, whether you're in the Caribbean or you're in a movie that's a sequel way too many years too late, always remember to be cool.